Peace, peace. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Outlaw Hip Hop Podcast. I am your host, Outlaw J. And give yourselves a hands for coming back, man. I appreciate it, man. I want to say, first off, peace to everybody that has been commenting, that has been liking, that has been giving me the time of out your important day just to hear my topics and hear the things that are going on in my world. And before I get the show started, excuse me, I want to send a special shout out to a certain someone in my life. I just want to say I love you wholeheartedly, and I apologize for not being your friend when you need me to be your friend. And I say that because you don't need me to be your boyfriend right now. You need me to be your friend. And for that, I apologize for focusing so much on being your man. You deserve the world from me. You deserve so much better from me. You deserve for my words to stick and for me not just to say shit. You deserve the world from me. And for that, I apologize in the world you would get from me. And that's a fact. So I want to say I love you from the bottom of my heart to the top of my spirit. And I wholeheartedly mean that. I love you. All right, let's get the show started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go on. Today's topic is going to be my story. I got a request for me to tell my story so I can connect with the people a little bit more, so you guys can understand who I am, where I come from, and why I do what I do, and why I have become who I am. So let's go. Welcome to Outlaw Hip Hop. All right, I was born May 3rd, 1986. Sherry Sanders is my mother. Steve Simpson is my father. My mother is from California. My father is from Texas. Crazy how their excuse me, how their worlds aligned. I don't even know how the hell that happened. But I know two things for sure. Out of their chaos came me and excuse me, my younger brother Jerome. May he rise in power. Rest in peace. So let's get the story started right, man. All right, so my mother went to the hospital to see her sister. Her and her sister were pregnant at the same time. So she went to go visit her sister at the hospital and ended up going into labor herself. Her water broke. So I have a cousin. We are literally a day apart. He was born May 2nd. I was born May 3rd, which is crazy. We were both in the same nursery, and we were born right next door to each other. I was 2 months earlier. I wasn't due until July. But because of that, I was born in May. And I was born 2 pounds, 2 ounces, which is ironic because I believe that's what my son was when he was born. He might have been 2 pounds, 3 ounces. I would have to double check with his mother. But I was in the hospital for a week before I came home. My mother, I just got off the phone with her and she was telling me some stuff that I just did not know. I was eating breast milk, and then she put me on the cereal in my formula. And then at 6 months, I started eating breakfast, which is crazy because that's still my favorite food, still to this day. Anybody who knows me, you want to make my day, give me some breakfast. You feel me? That's just a fact. I'm breakfast for dinner. I don't give a damn what time it is. And McDonald's be tripping when they stop the all day breakfast shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, breakfast is my joint. You understand? right. So my mother gave me to my grandfather. I want to say maybe at the age of 1. Um, because she was homeless and she told my grandma that she couldn't do it no more. She couldn't be on the streets with a baby. I remember her telling me that she was under a bridge one time. Sleep with me in some cardboard boxes under a bridge. That's crazy. My mother is a strong individual, point blank, period. Like, because it couldn't have been me. You understand? you know, I've been through some homelessness too, and I'll eventually get to that. And I'm gonna try to break this up in parts so I'm not so long winded, and I'm not here so long. You understand? So this might be like 2-3 parts. All right. So my mother was on drugs at one point, and as was my father. Now I have a brother that is no longer with us. He unfortunately passed after he was born, maybe an hour or two after he was born. Rest in peace to my brother Jerome. And my mother just informed me, which I did not know, that they cremated him and scattered his ashes into the ocean. And that explains my connection to the ocean. Like, that's just my peace, my peaceful spot, the water, any type of water. Of course, I'm a tourist, so I'm in tune with nature. And but the ocean is just like, that's my go-to, when I need to clear my head, when I need to sit my ass down and truly think and truly sort out what the hell is going on in my brain. I go to the ocean, I go to the water. And even living in middle America right now, I still go to the water. That's just how I view it. I mean, when you're from San Diego, like I am, you the beach becomes your second home, kind of, like we lived at the beach, kind of, So, but then you get used to it and you just want to do other things. So it's like, I want to do something else, but all in all, the water is my peace, So, my mother being homeless, excuse me, on the street, she gave me to my grandfather. And my grandfather, if you guys remember in previous episodes, my grandfather is a pastor. He was a district elder of Southern Texas. Good man, definitely a good man. I mean, I've seen this man have nothing and give to the homeless. He opened his church doors to the homeless. I want to say every Sunday after church, and this is later in my life when I'm talking. I don't quite remember how it was back then, because I remember him doing church out of his house when I was younger. And then, over the years, he eventually got his building. But when I went down there after being 18, 17, 18, I was just about to turn 18. I remember, the good things that he did for the community. So shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? That's a one big-hearted individual, definitely. Anyway, so let's get back to the story. Now somehow my grandfather ended up giving me back to my dad, which to me, in my perspective, was a bad idea. Had I been with my grandfather up until my adulthood, I think my life obviously would have had a total different trajectory. It would have been completely different. Obviously I would have been raised in the church life, but as I got older, I started having questions anyway. But I know for sure my life would have been different. So my grandfather ends up giving me to my dad, and my dad was still obviously on drugs at the time. Even the woman that he was with, which is my stepmother, and I have 9, 10, 11 of us on my dad's side. So he ends up giving me back to my father, and my father, all I could remember was him back and forth in and out of jail. I really don't remember my dad working. I was just telling the mother of my children, I don't remember this nigga working like not one day. I do recall one time maybe, and I hope I'm not getting him confused with one of my mom's boyfriends. But I think I do remember him having maybe one mechanic job when I was a kid. And I hope I'm not getting him confused with my mom's husband now. But as far as I remember, my dad never worked. That nigga didn't work for shit. This nigga was always in and out of jail. I remember there would be times when we were in shelters. We were in homeless shelters. My dad would work in like the cafeteria area or whatever. But nigga wasn't getting paid for that shit. You know what I'm saying? But if he was not in the homeless shelter, he was in the streets getting high. You understand what I'm saying? That's the only memories I have of my dad. If he was not in jail, if we were not going to visit him in jail, he was high. You understand? And they say kids, don't be paying attention to that shit. Back then, the world was different back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? The world was completely different back in the 90s. So I remember going to see this nigga in jail or him coming home from jail. We just happened to wake up in the morning and see him sleep on the bed. You feel me? Like coming home from jail. You know what I'm saying? But I don't remember my dad working at all. So, I can't remember if I was maybe 7 or 8 at the time. I mean, now from the age, from age maybe 4 to age 7, I was with my dad. But like I said, during that time, my dad was in and out of prison, literally. Like he would go do some months. I remember him gone for like a year one time, So I remember just going to places like weird places just to eat. My stepmother would take us to like these places just to eat, breakfast, and then we'd be out on the street all day. You know what I'm saying? Now, around age 7, I don't even know. I don't remember my dad working. I don't even know what happened. All I know is they left us in the house for a week. Now, at the time, it was me, one of my older brothers, and these are my stepbrothers and sisters. My older brother, my older sister, me, and like maybe 3 of my younger brothers, and my baby sister on my dad's side. Yo, they left us in the house for like a week. I don't know what the hell they was doing. Obviously getting high. That's one component I can confirm, but we were in the crib for like a week. Like we was eating canned food. You know what I'm saying? We was eating shit out of, it was cold. Like shout out to my older sister, my stepsister. Like she tried to, make meals and shit. But remember, we were like between the ages of 12 and all the way down to like 2. My baby sister, I remember her being like 2. Shout out to all my brothers and sisters. Excuse me. I tell people all the time, like I grew up in a multicultural environment. So I wasn't always just around black kids. I wasn't just always around white kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I have blood brothers and sisters that are half black, half Mexican. You know what I'm saying? So I got to see early the treatment of men when it came to women in the Latin culture, in the Latina culture, So it was different for me growing up. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, I didn't view the world as black and white when I was young. You understand what I'm saying? It was more to life than black and white to me. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you started talking about black and white, that was some mundane shit to me at a young age. Like, really? The world is bigger than black and white. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just views the world as black and white, and the world is so much bigger than that. You understand? So let me not get too far out of the story. But they left us in the house for a week. Now my father's mother ended up coming to the house one time. And if anybody in the black community know, when your parents leave, you don't open the door for no damn body unless they got a key. So we couldn't open the door for her, and she knew we was in there, but we couldn't open the door for her. Talking to her through the door, like, we can't open the door, Grandma, because Mom and Dad told us not to open the door. You understand what I'm saying? Amari, go play. Excuse me, my son. All right now, go play. Okay, Daddy's working. So excuse me, y'all. Like I said, my kids, they don't know no better. You understand? And this is just, transparency of real father life up in here. Okay. So I want to say my grandmama called the police. Now, when she called the police, I remember the police. We lived in the house, and I don't want to go too far away from the story. I just want to backtrack a little bit. The house that we lived in was beautiful. We lived in Imperial Beach at the time, and it was a nice house. The whole house was floor. It was wooded floor, hardwood floors. I want to say it was like maybe a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, or something like that. Now, how that happened, I have no clue, because, like I said, I don't remember no adult working. There was no adult working where I lived. So maybe they were getting Section 8, maybe, they was getting help from the state. It could be, obviously, you know what I'm saying? We stayed with food. I mean, times was hard though. You understand what I'm saying? I remember the government cheese. I remember them old white boxes of noodles, and you feel me? I remember back then too, and I tell people this all the time, and they think I be capping. I'm not. This is straight true. No lie, no bullshit. My stepmother used to send me to the store by myself. And I'm talking, I have to be 5, 6 years old at that time. You see, we live in a different society today. My kids are outside playing right now as we speak, and their mother is right there, but back then, we was wilding. Like, you could send your kids outside. We used to walk. I remember I used to walk 3-4 miles to get to freaking school, by myself. My older brother and sister, they had to go to a different school because they aged out. So, but she used to send me to the store to get cigarettes and to buy like eggs and shit by myself. And I had to be no older than 6. Straight facts. You understand what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't understand. Like, I don't view it like the way I viewed it then. Then I'm like, you guys are fucking crazy for sending this 6-year-old to the store by himself. I could have been snatched up by anybody. And, due to media and things like that, we didn't hear a lot of stories of kids being snatched up and being locked away in somebody's house or some stuff like that. You understand? So, it was a different world back then. Anybody around my age knows exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, but let me get back to the story. So I remember after my grandma couldn't come in the house, I don't know if she called the police or somebody else called the police, but the police ended up showing up. So when the police showed up, the house that we lived in, there was a back way to get in. In the back way to get in, there was like a laundry room. You feel me? So I remember seeing the officer climb over the gate and came through the back door. I don't even remember the back door being unlocked. You know what I'm saying? But somehow he got in there, and we all got put into the system. You know what I'm saying? And if it was my grandma, shout out to her, because that was a good look. You understand what I'm saying? All I know is we was in the house for like a week, maybe 8 days by ourselves with a little baby. You understand what I'm saying? So I ended up in the system. I ended up staying in a group home for maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years. It was a long time. Yeah, and it had to be about a year because, I was like 7, because I remember my mom coming with my look, and I didn't even know I had a younger brother and sister on my mom's side at the time. I thought it was just me and my older sister. So when my mom comes to get me, my mom's coming to visit. Now I don't know the specifics of, was she still technically on drugs when she came to see me? But all I know is I didn't know I had a little brother and sister. So when they showed up, my mom showed up with my little brother and sister. I'm like, who the hell are they? But I remember I took this teddy bear and I was playing with my little brother and sister, like scaring them kind of, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I met my younger brother and sister, you know what I'm saying, on my mom's side. Shout out to them, you know what I'm saying? And I'll get into their stories too, you know what I'm saying? As I tie in my story, because it all comes back around. It all makes sense in the end, you know what I'm saying? So then I remember, yeah, I think she did have to be on drugs because my aunt came to get me, which is my mother's sister, the one that the one that the one that she had a baby right next door to. She ended up coming to get me out of foster care. And I stayed with her for, let me see, 8, 9, 10, maybe like 3 years. Right? And all I know is when I used to leave and go visit my mom on the weekends, I used to come back and it used to make me feel some type of way because they all had this extra shit. Now that I think about it as an adult, they just went to get something to eat. But I come back, these niggas got new toys and shit, you feel me? And I'm like, what the you feel me? That will make any 8-year-old, 9-year-old feel some type of way. You understand what I'm saying? So I stayed with her. Some of my good friends that I met at Brooklyn Elementary are still my good friends to this day. Shout out to everybody that's still my good friend, you know. Some of these people I went to high school with, some of these people I know they sisters, you know what I'm saying? Like just really good people, you know what I mean? But I stayed with her up until I think I was maybe 10-ish, 11-ish. Because I remember moving back with my mom at age 11. Now, during this time that I moved back with my mom, obviously, she had to go through some stuff to get me back. Right? But when it came to the family side of it, my auntie just gave me back to my mom. You know what I'm saying? And not knowing the severity of my mom's addiction, this shit was hell. And I didn't already talk to my mom. We didn't already went over it. You feel me? Like she don't care about me telling her story because, like I said, you know, she's already went through the things that she needed to go through to work on herself. You know what I'm saying? So I hope nobody's like, this nigga just airing his mom out. No, it's not that. This is my story, but it all ties together in how, you know, I'm just putting in I'm just painting a picture of like how strong I seen my mom, you know, from her low side to her high side. You understand what I'm saying? So when I moved back with my mom, let me see. Where the hell does she live at? I don't even remember where she lived at when I moved back with my mom. Oh, she lived in the trailer park in the hood on 47. Anybody know about San Diego? You know about neighborhood. You feel me? You know about 47. We live literally right in the hood. Yeah, this is about 5th grade. This is about 5th grade because she didn't. Nope, it was the coast. It was the west. 2938 Clay Street. That's when I moved back with my mom. Yep, that's facts. Because I ended up going to Logan Elementary. And that's where I met my best friend. And he's still my best friend to this day. You understand what I'm saying? That's big right there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know he's going through his life. I'm going through mine. So, you know, we may not talk all the time, but we keep tabs on each other. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have Facebook no more and none of that shit. So, you know, my real people know how to get in contact with me, period. You feel me? I don't need social media. You feel me? to be in contact with my true ones. You understand what I'm saying? So shout out to my boy. You feel me? Then we met one of our other good best friends. So it was me, Ryan, and Marcel. You feel me? Like, we was the team. You feel me? Like, whenever you seen me, you seen them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to leave nobody out of my story. You feel me? But so yeah, my mom was still on drugs then. When I finally moved back with her, and this is where things got real. You understand? This is when shit got real. Because you don't know when you're not there. You understand? But when you get there and this is your life every day, things change. Relationships change. The world changes. So, you know what? I'm going to keep going for a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit even more. So what I mean by that is, my little brother and sister at the time were young. My sister was older, obviously. And she was still living with my aunt, one of my other aunts at the time. So it was me, my mom, my little brother and sister, and her boyfriend at the time. And, excuse me. You just don't know how heavy your parent is into the drugs until you see it every day. Now, my mom used to fucking come in the room, eyes all big and shit. You feel me? Jermaine, turn this down. Turn it down. Turn it down. Turn it down. You hear that? You hear that? Turn the TV off. Hide in the motherfucker. Used to piss me off. I used to be like, Mom, yo, go somewhere. Like, go over there, Mom. You feel me? And listen, I want anybody to know right now, like, yo, I did not make this shit comfortable for my mom. I made my mom's high life hell. I did. That's a fact. And when my sister came, it was even worse. You understand? Because my sister moved back, I want to say, recently after I came back. I mean, right after I came back, then my sister came back. My older sister came. So it wasn't too long. You feel me? Yo, we made her fucking life hell. She used to drink, what she used to drink? That Cisco shit. We call that crack in the bottle. She used to be high. Yo, we used to throw her fucking crack pipes. Yo, we used to we used to break her liquor bottles because that was her go-to shit. You feel me? So one time, I can remember one time, one of my partners at school, I don't even know if it was at school, I think it was just in the neighborhood, said that this dude had 18 mice. Right? So he was about to give them away or let them go or something. I said, nah, I'll take them goddamn mice. So I used to bring the mice in the crib, and they used to be scratching on they used to be scratching on the cage all night and shit. My mom hated that shit. She was already paranoid, right? I made her even more paranoid. You feel me? She made me get rid of the motherfuckers after like a month. You feel me? Yo, for real. Listen, man, this shit real, man. You feel me? I kind of want to make a movie out of my life or something. You feel me? I kind of want to write a book. You feel me? Everybody telling me I should write a book and all that. You feel me? But listen, I made my mom's fucking high life hell. Me and my older sister, we made her life. Now, don't get me twisted. I remember one year, don't get me twisted. Like it was poverty, right? It was hard. You understand? It was definitely hard, right? Because then now I'm forced to raise my younger brother and sister. You feel me? I'm forced to do the things that my mom is too high to do. Take them to school, get them from fucking school. You feel me? Like, and I'll get in depth about it later as I go in the story. But at some point, you lose your sense of who you are because now I was a young parent. You know what I'm saying? Let's put that in context. You know, I became a young parent out of my mother getting high. You understand? My little brother and sister, I had to, you feel me, like make sure that they had. And shout out to all the older brothers and older sisters out there that look out for their people. You feel me? Because I could have been like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna go to the people, I'm gonna say some shit, and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I could have easily did that because I was like fifth grade, sixth grade. You become aware of certain things. You understand what I'm saying? You become aware of, yo, I can call CPS and get the fuck out of here. You feel me? But I loved my mom. You feel me? Like, don't get it twisted. You know, I tell people all the time, it was people were always giving me up. My mom gave me up. My grandfather gave me up to my dad. Then my dad ended up giving me up or losing me. You understand? And I don't try to make these things an excuse for why I am the way I am, but it plays a major part. You understand? It's still affected me in my adulthood. You understand? And I try to let that be known. And I'm not making it an excuse at all. You know, I take accountability for the shit that I've done because of that, though. The good people that loved me and tried to love me, and you know who you are, I kind of was like, you can go too. Because that's what I've grown accustomed to. You understand? And that I wholeheartedly apologize for and I take my accountability for. But, you know, I ended up raising my little brother and sister. And don't get it twisted. You know, my mom provided when she could provide, how she could provide. We always had food. It may have been some bullshit, you feel me? But we had something to eat. I remember one year, she didn't even wrap the presents under the tree. We had a gang of shit under the tree. Like, it wasn't even wrapped. I'm talking, it was what? That's the time Nintendo 64 came out. So, you feel me? It was around, that had to be what, 96? 97-ish? You feel me? If I remember correctly. Right? Yeah, definitely. Got some 007 was the shit. You feel me? Like, yo, I remember one time me and my sister went to the mall and we stole a gang of shit for the N64 because my mom couldn't get us all the stuff that we wanted, another controller, more games and shit like that. So, yo, we went to the mall and we stole a gang of shit. And shout out to my sister. She get on my fucking nerves, but at that time, you know, that was my Clyde. I mean, my Bonnie, you feel me? Like, nigga, it was me and my sister, like, thug life. Like, we was doing all kind of weird shit. I mean, we was right. Yo, me and my older sister was gone. You feel me? Like, I remember one time, this had to be 7th grade. We stayed at the Boys and Girls Club and we stayed at the Rec. That was our, you know, if we wasn't, you know, at the crib with my little brother and sister, we would spend our time at the Boys and Girls Club and shit like that. And I remember one time they was going to Disneyland. Was it Disneyland? No, they went to Magic Mountain. And I snuck on the bus, B. I don't even know how I did it. All I know is I snuck on the bus. You feel me? I was supposed to walk my sister up to the bus. It was like 6 a.m, B. And somebody was like, yo, just get on the bus. I was like, for real? I was like, yeah. So I got on the bus. You feel me? And good thing I did because my best friend was on the bus. You feel me? And his older brother. You feel me? Yo, this shit was crazy though. You feel me? Where was I at? I done got lost in the stories. You feel me? But yeah, so my mom was still on drugs, like real heavy at that time. Her boyfriend too, at the time, was still heavy on drugs. He was the dope man. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? My mom's boyfriend was the dope man. Ain't that a bitch? That's crazy. You feel me? I don't even know how the fuck she pulled that off, but she pulled that shit off. He was the dope man. You feel me? I'm not quite sure. I think maybe he was on drugs too. I want to say he was. I don't know because his character never changed. You understand? He was always the same motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? He was mean as shit. he wasn't really mean. He just disciplined me, and I ain't really like that shit. Nigga, you ain't my dad. You feel me? When you a kid, you like, fuck that shit. Nigga, you feel me? I'll beat your ass. You don't know no better when you a kid. You feel me? But I want to say I think he was on drugs too. But one thing I do know is we didn't go without. You understand what I'm saying? Now, in my dad's situation, my dad used to smoke up all the money. Wherever the money came from, that shit used to be smoked up. Even, my mom was just saying, even when they lived together, he was just smoking up all the money. You feel me? They might have been smoking, but we always had something. You understand? That's a fact. So it ain't just about, like we had, my nigga, like certain kids in my neighborhoods, they didn't have on Easter Day, you feel me, new clothes and shit like that. Like, yo, we had shit on Easter Day. You feel me? We in the new joints, you feel me, new shoes, the whole shit. You feel me? So just like I said, this ain't about just, it wasn't always bad is what I'm saying. You understand? There was good times and there were bad times, just like anybody else's story. You feel me? We just happen to highlight the negative stories because the negative stories were the ones that changed our trajectory as children, as young teenagers, as adolescents. You understand? We were some badasses at some point. You feel me? But then having to raise my little brother and sister gave me a sense of somebody else needs me right now. You feel me? Because if my mom is already high, she's just trying to hurry up and get high. She's not worried about all the little shit we need to worry about. Is they getting to school okay? You feel me? Now, I remember going to school in dirty clothes, though. Don't get it fucked up. You feel me? I remember there was times I went to school in dirty clothes. I got teased. You feel me? And that's a lot of where my anger came from. Because I was always fighting. You know what I'm saying? Little dumbass kids don't know your story, so you feel me? They tease you. I don't know why kids, I don't, sometimes I didn't have clean clothes. I might have had some nice shit, but it wasn't clean all the time. We didn't wash clothes all the time like that. You feel me? I remember one time in the 7th grade, my sister cut my fucking hair, quote unquote, trying to give me a goddamn fade, and she fucked me up. The shit looked like this. You feel me? And I got teased at school for it. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say that's a major part of where my anger comes from, was having to defend myself at school. You feel me? While you motherfuckers is worried about what I got on, I have to worry about my little brother and sister. You understand? And I'm talking, I had to wash their clothes out in the tub and the sink, so I would forget about myself. I remember this shit like yesterday. You understand? I was washing their clothes out in the sink and air drying and all that shit that sometimes I would forget to wash my own damn clothes. You know, I played baseball at the time. You know what I'm saying? I would come to fucking a new game with the same dirty ass baseball clothes. You feel me? And then my best friend started playing a role because he was adopted at the time. You know, he was in foster care at the time. And shout out to him and his brothers and sisters. And his foster mother was the principal of our school. I want to say she was the vice principal, then the principal. And shout out to her, Miss Addison. She was good people. Very, very good people. And her husband happened to be a pastor. So we would go to El Centro every fucking Sunday and go to church. You feel me? And I want to say that's where I had my first kiss at. But that's for another story too. That's for another date. That's when I would get to go to, sometimes to his house during the weekends. And she would order pizza every fucking Friday, B. So you feel me? It was a different world over there for me. You understand? They had all the video games you could think about, all the snacks. You feel me? They had a pantry. I didn't even know what a pantry was until I went over there. You understand? They had the pantry full of just snacks, B. You feel me? All the video games you could think of. Like, what? We used to go to the mall, buy fucking, back in the day, it was the model cars and shit. You feel me? It was a different world over there for me. So that was my escape. My best friend's house became my escape from my reality, my rude and fucking raw reality. You understand? It was raw. I grew up rugged. You understand? I grew up in the slums for real. Cats be talking all this shit. Oh, you from California? Yo, you don't know. Yeah, outside it was beautiful. You had the palm trees and bullshit outside. You understand? But the environment is what the slums was. I've been to the South. I know what the projects look like. You feel me? Those were my projects. You understand? Y'all have been compacted on each other, but the environment was exactly the fucking same. On food stamps and shit. You feel me? Mom and pops on drugs. You understand? I grew up raw. I grew up rough. Then I guess I'll leave that for part 2. My mother became clean and sober, and that shit became a struggle. That shit was raw too. So yeah, I'm gonna break this down in parts because I got to make sure I'm getting everything right. So I'm gonna go over it, and then I'll start getting into my adolescence of how things was like junior high, high school, and beyond. You know, but I want to make it clear, y'all. I grew up rough. Then a motherfucker. I got my ass whooped. You understand? I got my ass whooped by strangers. You feel me? I got my ass whooped. You hear me? I got whooped. I got beat. You understand? I remember one time, and this is around the time when I got took from my dad. I remember, see, I didn't, not seeing it. There was no concept of money to me. Yeah, we were studying in school, but nobody was giving me no fucking money. So I remember going to 7-Eleven. The 7-Eleven was on the corner. I lived on a busy street, and I don't even remember how I did it. I did it. I lived on a real busy ass street. You know, one of them streets that's just always, it's a red light right there. You know what I'm saying? It's a 4-way. It's always busy as shit. I remember going to the store, and I went in there, and remember the little crackers with the cheese and shit? I remember just walking in that bitch and just grabbing them and walking the fuck out. Now, when I walked out, I went back to the house. My dad just happened to be at the back door doing laundry. So I could see that look on his face of what the fuck? Like, is this my son? Like you feel me? This is what to me, I was a little grown ass motherfucker. You feel me? So I remember that look on his face of he was like shocked and worried. But what the fuck are you doing? I'm walking in the back door with some cheese and crackers. I don't know why. It was the middle of the night. It had to be like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And yo, he whooped my ass. And my mama didn't even know the story. Yo, my dad beat me. You know them little, back in the day, we had the big ass, the big metal vacuums. And the long pole to make it, you know, you can extend it or make it shorter. Yo, he took that long pole and he beat my ass to the point where I couldn't go to school the next day because he whooped my ass. Like my legs could not move. Like I felt paralyzed. My mama didn't even know that shit. I just recently told my mama that shit. Like maybe 3 months ago, I just told my mama that shit. You understand? So I'm gonna end it here. This is gonna be part 1. And I want to leave y'all with, make sure y'all teach y'all kids to not judge other kids because you don't know what the fuck they're going through. And that's real talk. You understand? I know we live in a different world today, but listen, people are still struggling. People are still going through hardship. There are still single parents out here that their kids got to help raise their children because there's nobody out here to help them. You understand that? I am a product of this environment. I choose to go above, though. I choose to rise up. I'm here for my kids. I'm here for my sons. You understand? No matter what's going on with me and their mothers, I'm still here for my kids. Whatever you need, if I got it, you got it. And I hope more men have that state of mind. You understand? Because it's fucking hard out here. People on fixed incomes and shit. You don't know what a person is going through. You understand? So this is the Outlaw Hip Hop Podcast. I'm Outlaw J, man. And I'm going to hit y'all with part 2 in a minute, all right? Peace to everybody. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. You feel me? I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate the love that I've been getting, the feedback, the comments, you know what I'm saying, has been love. You feel me? And we're going to keep it going like that, all right? So peace to everybody. Peace and love. Peace and light, all right? This is Outlaw J. Once again, it's Outlaw Hip Hop Podcast, all right? Peace.